The night sky over the Persian Gulf was unusually quiet, until it wasn't. Somewhere off the Iranian coast near Bandar Abbas, a massive silhouette sat in the darkness, a ship unlike anything Iran had ever launched before. Nearly the length of a World War II aircraft carrier, the vessel carried no fighter jets. Instead, its deck was built for something far more modern: drones. Its name was IRIS Shahid Bagheri, Iran's first drone carrier. And within hours of the United States launching a sweeping military campaign known as Operation Epic Fury, this ambitious warship would become one of the most dramatic targets of the entire operation. What happened next unfolded in minutes, but its consequences could reshape the balance of naval power in the Middle East. The story actually begins long before the missiles were launched. For years, Iran had been investing heavily in unmanned warfare. Drones were cheaper, easier to deploy, and capable of reaching far beyond Iran's coastline. Iranian military planners envisioned a floating base that could launch waves of surveillance drones, kamikaze drones, and helicopters deep into strategic waterways like the Strait of Hormuz. To achieve that, engineers took an ordinary commercial container ship and transformed it into something extraordinary. The result was the IRIS Shahid Bagheri, a 240-meter vessel weighing roughly 40,000 tons, equipped with a long flight deck and a ski jump ramp designed for drone launches. Iranian officials hailed it as the most significant naval project since the 1979 revolution. On paper, it was capable of carrying dozens of drones and helicopters, operating at sea for nearly a year without refueling, and projecting Iranian power far beyond the Persian Gulf. But its debut on the world stage would be short-lived. Late February 2026. Tensions between Washington and Tehran had already been escalating. Drone attacks, missile launches, and maritime confrontations had created a volatile situation across the region. Then the United States launched a massive campaign targeting Iran's military infrastructure. Within the first hours of Operation Epic Fury, U.S. forces began striking naval bases, missile sites, and warships along Iran's southern coast. Among the highest priority targets, the Shahid Bagheri. Satellite imagery and military reports suggest the drone carrier was stationed at the Iranian naval base in Bandar Abbas, one of the most important naval hubs in the country. That's when the first wave hit. According to U.S. military officials, American naval forces unleashed Tomahawk cruise missiles against Iranian naval targets during the opening phase of the operation. These missiles travel at nearly 900 kilometers per hour, skimming just above the ocean surface to evade radar before striking with devastating precision. Somewhere in the darkness, targeting data locked onto the Shahid Bagheri. Moments later, the strike began. The explosions lit up the harbor. Massive plumes of fire erupted along the ship's deck as the missiles slammed into key sections of the vessel, reportedly targeting command areas and operational infrastructure designed for drone launches. Within minutes, flames were visible from miles away. Later, Brad Cooper, the commander of United States Central Command, confirmed what had happened. The Iranian drone carrier had been struck, and it was burning. "We hit an Iranian drone carrier ship," Cooper said, noting that it was roughly the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. "As we speak, it's on fire." The attack on the Shahid Bagheri was only one piece of a much larger campaign. In the same wave of operations, U.S. forces targeted dozens of Iranian naval vessels, missile launch sites, and strategic infrastructure. According to American officials, more than 30 Iranian ships were destroyed or disabled during the early stages of the operation. Satellite imagery from Bandar Abbas soon showed extensive damage across the naval base: burning vessels, shattered facilities, and thick columns of smoke rising into the sky. The Shahid Bagheri, once the pride of Iran's new naval doctrine, was now engulfed in flames. What made the strike particularly significant wasn't just the destruction of a single ship. It was the message. Unlike traditional aircraft carriers that deploy fighter jets, the Shahid Bagheri represented a new model of naval warfare, one centered around drones. Iran believed these floating drone bases could bypass traditional naval superiority. Instead of building massive fleets of expensive warships, Tehran could deploy swarms of unmanned systems launched from sea. In theory, it was a clever strategy. But the strike demonstrated something equally important, that even these new platforms were vulnerable. The United States had located the ship, tracked it, and destroyed it within the opening hours of the campaign. For military analysts, that revelation was staggering. It meant that the most ambitious project of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy, a vessel designed to project drone power across the region, had been neutralized before it could ever fully prove its capabilities. And the psychological impact may have been just as powerful as the physical damage. Iran had unveiled the drone carrier only a year earlier, showcasing it in military ceremonies and propaganda footage as a symbol of technological progress. Now it had become one of the earliest casualties of a rapidly expanding conflict. But perhaps the most dramatic twist came in the information war that followed. Iranian media quickly claimed that a U.S. aircraft carrier had been struck in retaliation. Washington dismissed those claims. Officials from CENTCOM issued a blunt statement. The only carrier that had been hit was the Iranian one, the Shahid Bagheri. Meanwhile, U.S. aircraft carriers in the region continued launching sorties as the operation expanded. The destruction of the Shahid Bagheri quickly became one of the defining moments of the opening phase of the campaign. Military historians may eventually view it as a symbol of the changing nature of warfare, where container ships can become aircraft carriers, drones can replace fighter jets, and precision missiles can decide the fate of a billion-dollar military project in a matter of seconds. What began as a bold experiment in naval drone warfare ended in fire on the waters of the Persian Gulf. And in modern conflict, that is often how innovation meets reality.